Hello, US. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Lunta Di La Paulo with you today. I am the CEO and founder of Yeto Accounting and Tax PLLC. For a second, I thought I forgot the name of my firm. It's been an interesting day, or rather, an interesting week, and especially the last couple days. But we're here. The tax season is back, and we are here to help you, to serve you, to assist you in any ways that we can. And today I have here for you the common mistakes we see that cost self-employed individuals, and in particular small business owners, a lot of money. And I want to go through these mistakes to help you make less of these mistakes. And as you gear up towards the tax season, you should be really aware of them. You should be mindful of them, and you should be paying attention so that your tax returns are not screwed up. Your tax returns are not accidentally, uh, underhanded, and you end up with a tax bill, a penalty, additional interest, so fines. Okay, so my goal today is to give you about seven tax mistakes that we have seen year after year from new clients that come to our firm. And by the way, let me share with you this story today. A couple days ago, I got an email from one of our clients, and they reached out, and understandably they were upset. They were a little bit frustrated, okay, because they received a tax notice from the IRS, and the tax notice said that they needed to pay about $10,000 in taxes, and they just couldn't make sense why that was happening, right? So, and I understand their frustration. Again, I responded back, hey, why don't we set up a time and talk about these? Let's look into the tax notice together. Let's look into our tax returns, and we'll actually figure out whether, there was a mistake made on our end. And if we made a mistake, we're gonna own it, and we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna be responsible for whatever mistake that you think we've made. And guess what? We set up a meeting, and we connected, and we went through that call, and I showed the work papers we have. Thanks God, we are sensible people. We keep track of our information, our data, and I showed them the calculations, and the IRS was correct, and the taxpayer realized that they actually were supposed to make payments of a certain amount of taxes, that they didn't actually make this tax payment. And we decided, let's set up a payment plan to help them, make sure they're not slammed with a large one-time payment. And I also volunteered to help them get the penalties and interest abated, given that it's the first time they made this type of error. So we'll see if the IRS is going to be generous enough with us to help the taxpayer. Okay, but this is not always the case for a lot of taxpayers in America, sadly, because I have had clients coming to our firm, to our CPA practice, with complaints like, listen, I got my taxes done last year by somebody. Now I got this tax return, and suddenly the tax preparer, the accountant, is no longer answering to my calls, to my emails. I called them several times, they're not responding. I emailed them, and I never hear anything back. And I wanna say, I hope that's not gonna be the case with you, right? Part of the mistakes we're gonna cover today actually involve one of these. So I wanna make sure that, for those of you following us today, that you avoid many of the mistakes. I only have 7 for you today, so it's gonna be a little bit compressed here. We're gonna, go through them a little bit faster, okay? But I wanna make sure that, you have the right information. so that you can avoid these mistakes and just have a peace of mind, right? That's all. That's what all of us want: peace of mind. And we want just a little bit of money in our pocket to pay for living expenses, to live happy with the people we care about and we love. And I believe that's genuinely what most of us, if not all of us, across the board, across races, across genders, across whatever you want to call it, want in life, right? Just peace of mind, a little bit of what we need to live a decent life. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling. The mistake number one that we often see taxpayers making, or their tax professional making, is the clerical errors. And these type of mistakes, unfortunately, can cost taxpayers money. Okay, can cost taxpayers money big time, because a simple miscalculation, okay, a simple error can result in rejections in tax returns, because your tax preparer might be thinking, well, I already filed your tax, and then they didn't realize that it actually got rejected because the social security number is incorrect. And guess who is gonna be ending up on the hook? You. Because for the government, you are the ultimate responsible for your tax returns. Okay, the moment you sign that tax return, or you give a PIN for your professional to enter into the tax returns, you are actually signing that under perjury. Okay, you're telling the government, and it's written there, right, at the bottom at your tax return, on your form 1040, you're gonna see it written there that you're signing after you have provided what you believe to be truthful, accurate, and complete. Okay, so as a taxpayer, okay, it's your responsibility. You gotta remember that the ultimate responsibility doesn't lay on your tax preparer, on your CPA, on your tax advisor. It's on you. Okay, so as we talk about these clerical mistakes, it's really important for you to make sure, okay, I'm gonna repeat this, it's really important for you to make sure that when your CPA, your tax professional, somebody like me, send you that tax return, right, after they've prepared it, you actually spend time reviewing. I see a lot of people, unfortunately, this is something that I actually do in our practice. When I send a tax return to somebody, if they sign it in less than 1 hour, I know they didn't review it. I have to schedule a call with them to make sure that they actually took the time to review the work we did. Okay, because it's our job definitely to catch a mistake, but if we don't catch it, you're supposed to catch it so that you can let your professional know. Okay, it's that important. Check for clerical mistakes. Check if your tax professional is filing your tax return using an incorrect filing status. Check your tax return, right, for anything that that should have been there and it's not there. Okay, I have seen mistakes around bank account number. Somebody files a beautiful tax return, a complete tax return, an honest tax return, but guess what? The tax preparer made a mistake in one digit, and the refund of the taxpayer ends up in somebody else's bank account. What a nightmare to deal with. So as a tax professional, I'm telling you, it's your job to review the tax return for the clerical errors. Okay? It's very important that you do that. So let's keep moving. The second type of mistakes are emotion-driven mistakes. These ones are typically when a tax preparer, right, the IRS opened the tax season this Monday, but there are people who began processing tax returns last week or the week before that, right? There are certain credits that the IRS is not processing yet. Therefore, your tax professional may be putting you in a situation of losing potential tax benefits. So, if you are a self-employed individual, right, you gotta have accurate data. And for many business owners, small business owners, self-employed individuals, whether you drive Lyft, you drive Uber, whether you are in the gig economy, you are in Upwork, any type of freelancing, right? Don't rush into filing your taxes unless you have all the documentation. Unless you have the documentation, trying to file too early or especially trying to file too late is a big problem. And let me tell you this, we had a situation recently, a taxpayer, you know, our system sends reminder. Typically we put about 10 to 15 reminders about the information we need to file the tax returns. Okay, and a few taxpayer never actually got around getting the information to us. And guess what happened? Even though we filed the extension, they still missed the extension deadline. For 15 of 2024, they missed it. Guess what? The amount of money they owed was supposed to be paid in April 15, right? Just a piece of education here. Whether or not you're filing an extension, if you expect to owe taxes, and by the way, your tax professional should tell you whether or not you are expecting to owe money, you have to pay by April 15. If you don't pay in full, I strongly recommend you to set up a payment plan, because if you don't do that, there are penalties for late payment of your taxes, and they are interest for accrued balances. Okay, and not only that, for folks who think I have all the time in the world, right? I'm not gonna file now, I'll take my time. And these taxpayer, we finally got around filing their tax returns on towards the end of November, if I recall correctly. Okay, we could have been having a great time, right? Relaxing, enjoying our lives, or even starting to prepare for this tax season, but we're still grinding. We still got them to the finishing line. But guess what? They had to pay late filing penalties, late filing fees, okay? Because they filed later than the IRS gave them time to do. And they weren't in an area where the IRS or the government provided an extension because of natural phenomena, disaster. So sometimes, and it's understandable, let me calm down and share this, right? Sometimes people just don't have the money. They say, I don't have the money to pay for taxes right now. I think I will owe, and my records are not organized, and maybe it's just their psychological makeup and they feel overwhelmed. And by the way, according to where did I saw this? I don't even remember, but I was reading about the top 20 fears Americans live with, and taxes is among the top 20 fears Americans live with throughout their lives. Okay, the fear of the IRS coming after you, the fear of making a tax mistakes, the fear of owing money to the government, right? And all these fears just drive people nuts, drive people crazy. So what's really happening here is, people are emotionally charged, and they don't feel like they have the bandwidth or the emotional capacity to deal with their taxes. And as a result, they just make a problem worse. Now, if you are in that situation, give us a call so that we can help you as soon as possible. Because the longer you wait, the more you accrue that balance, and the more you add up on that penalty that can go as high as 25% of the initial balance. Okay? So do yourself a favor, give us a call, send us a text message, shoot us an email, but seek help. If you don't want to reach out to us for help, find somebody you trust that can help you. Because delaying a problem, a tax problem, doesn't get better. Burying your head into the sand, hoping that the hurricane will just pass and leave you alone, that tax bill is not gonna go away with on its own. Okay, rather you're gonna continue accruing penalties, interest. Okay, and that's not helping you financially either. If your financial data is disorganized, it's messy, we're still early into the tax season. So you can still reach out to somebody like our firm to start helping you with your bookkeeping, with your cleanup, so that we can get you filed on time. If you owe money, we can reach out to the government. If you are in absolute desperate situation, you don't have money, there is no way you'll ever pay the taxes you owe, we can do a resolution for you and try to find a compromise with the IRS. Okay, but you gotta work towards getting those fixed. And I really hope for some of you who are following this webinar today, that you have made a New Year's resolution to get your taxes in order by the deadline. Okay, if not better. So let's keep moving. I talked initially about, okay, let me actually go back. Initially, I talked about the clerical mistakes, how important it is for you to actually review a tax return, okay, and not just sign it when you prepare, right? Send the tax returns to you, because sometimes they can make mistakes. They are human. We're human, right? Some of us are not necessarily, wired to assume responsibility, and they just disappear on you. But we're gonna be here. If we make mistake, as I said, we're standing our ground. If we made a mistake, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna pay for the price to fix it. But if it's your mistake, we're still gonna be here. We're gonna help you get the most optimal result. So watch out for clerical mistakes and watch out for emotional driven mistakes. Okay. Mistake number 3 is not claiming everything you're entitled to. And this is particularly important for folks like you, self-employed individuals and small business owners. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I meet with a business owner, a self-employed individual, a freelancer, somebody in the gig economy, circular economy, whatever you want to call it. And they just tell me, I can't claim my home, a part of my home that I work in consistently and regularly, because my CPA said that I cannot do that because it's going to trigger an alarm to the IRS. I lose my mind because of things like that. Like, it doesn't matter what your CPA says. What it matters is what's written in the tax code, in the tax law, okay? And the tax law says if you use a space in your house, whether it's a garage, a cabin, a space that you have designated, I have a space in my house that I work there every single day, that I run these lives, okay? And this space, the IRS tells me I can deduct the portion of the house for tax purposes. So my friends, if your CPA is telling you that you cannot claim something because they are afraid the IRS can come after you, you should consider somebody else. Okay? I'm gonna be that blunt, and I'm gonna tell you that you should find a better advisor. Our job is not to be in fear. Our job is to advise clients like you who need help to minimize their taxes legally. And I'm gonna tell you this, and this is not a contradiction. I will never ever do anything to risk my license as a CPA. I spent more than 60 years studying to earn this degree, this certification. I have spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours to become good at what I do today. Okay? I have passed rigorous examinations. I had to work under a CPA to follow the process. And do you really think I'm gonna put all that in risk because somebody wants to do illegal stuff on your tax returns? No. The simple answer is no and no. But we can follow the tax code to help you save money on taxes, to help you avoid taxes legally, okay? Without cheating, without lying, without committing fraud. You get it? So you are entitled to certain benefits. So let me tell you this. The government creates tax deductions, tax credits, tax incentives, right? To incentivize certain behaviors in the economy. And sometimes they also create certain tax rules to penalize certain behavior. Let me give you an example. The government doesn't necessarily want a lot of people in society to get drunk all the time. So there is a tax on alcohol. The government doesn't want its people to be smoking all the time and die younger, right? Therefore, there is a tax on tobacco, okay? There are certain goods and services that there are taxes on them. And there are others that we don't necessarily see taxes on them. There are certain types of income that the government wants to see more in society, and other types of income that suffer the highest taxation, like ordinary income, W-2 wages. But the good news for you as a self-employed individual or a small business owner, there is a lot of different ways that you can effectively reduce your income tax liability, close if not near zero. Okay? And there are many ways we can do that. Okay? But I want to tell you that you're entitled to certain tax benefits. So take advantage of them. Talk to your CPAs, talk to your tax professional, tax advisor, and claim what you are supposed to be claiming. And don't be afraid of an IRS tax audit. If you're following the law, if you're following the rules, if you're keeping your documentation there, then it doesn't matter if the IRS comes with an army after you. It doesn't matter because you have everything to back up your deduction, your tax credits, your tax benefits. Okay? So here are four things that I see often people making mistakes around not claiming everything. Number one, people say, I'm not going to claim depreciation of this fixed asset that I just purchased because my CPA said there's going to be a recapture. I wish I had time to show you how that costs you money. But trust me when I say, if you buy $1 million piece of equipment and you're not taking depreciation for that, you just shoot yourself. You just shot yourself, not on the foot, but literally on your head. Okay, your financial head. You just blew it. You blew it big time. Okay, if you want to see the math behind that, schedule a call with my team, and I will walk you through why that's such a big deal. People ignoring home office deduction. People work from their home. As I said, most of us now have an office in our home, right? Long time ago when we watched, when I was younger, and we would be watching these movies about rich folks. And one thing that rich folks often have in common is that in their house they have an office, a private office. And I used to think that that was purely a cosmetic thing, an aesthetic thing, something, that the rich would show off. But then I learned taxes and I realized that it was a financial planning move, a financial strategy. That's how rich people also cut their taxes, right? So you really have to, work with the right people to get the right results, okay? Ignoring business credits or QBI. I've seen tax returns without QBI, and I don't know how these tax preparers manage to do that, okay? Miscalculation of deductions and credits, in particular startup credits and organizational expenses deductions. So, as we navigate through these, it's really important that you're paying attention to all these details. Okay. Mistake number 4, and this is probably one of the big ones: failing to keep track of your records. Right. business owners who don't have supporting documents. They don't have, they say they have employees, but there is no signs of W-2. They say they have independent contractors, but there is no sign of W-9s or Form 1099. And by the way, tomorrow is January 31st. You know what's coming? A major tax deadline, right? Those of us who use independent contractors, it's time to send those independent contractors their 1099. But guess what? Many of you guys, many of business owners across the nation just did not bother to get the W-9 throughout the year before they begin working with folks. And they're starting to reach out to their independent contractor now. And some of those folks, unfortunately, are not ethical, are dodging them because they don't want to claim these income on their tax returns. So they don't want the 1099 to be sent to them. They're not answering phone calls. They're not answering emails. They're going to wait until this January 31st passes so that they can, suddenly appear out of the thin air and say, oh, I just saw your email. Guess what? It's going to be costing you money, right? It's $60 per independent contractor per person. And that amount can go as high as over $300 as time goes per person. Okay? If you have 10 independent contractor, right, after January 31st, you're looking at $600 in penalties. Okay, just think about that, and that's gonna be compounding. Okay, so make sure that you're filing on time. Make sure you're filing on time. So back to mistake number 4, failing to keep track of records. Right, your financial statement, your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement, your cash flows. You have to have a well-documented system of information and internal controls, right? How you pay people, how you pay vendors, how you get paid by clients, right? Your employees' information, okay? Gotta document everything, okay? And you gotta keep your documentation safe and easily retrievable, okay? In an easily retrievable fashion, because it doesn't matter if you're keeping track of data and it's all mixed up. Okay, so do yourself a favor, avoid mistake number 4, because if you keep making these kind of mistakes, you know what's gonna happen? Right? If the IRS comes after you, they are just gonna nullify all the deduction because you don't have any support whatsoever to show the basis for claiming those deductions or for claiming those credits. So do yourself a favor, keep your information accurately, keep it close, keep it in a place that can be easily accessible yet safe. Okay, so that's our mistake number 4. Let's move on quickly on mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 tells us about folks who earn money throughout the year and they don't remember that the government deserves their share. Okay, they're not worried about sending quarterly tax estimates. They're not concerned about setting money aside to send to the government to pay for their taxes. And guess what? When the tax season comes, the tax preparer puts the data into the tax software, and then when they receive the tax return, oh my God, I owe that much? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You do owe that much. Why? You did not bother to pay quarterly tax estimates. Okay? And for folks who earn over $150,000 a year, you're supposed to send a little bit more money, right? Why? To make sure you are not gonna be receiving penalties for not sending money throughout the year. Okay, my friends. So do yourself a favor, send those checks or go into the IRS payment system, and it's very easy. Okay, make those payments, set up maybe an automatic payment every month or every quarter. It deducts certain amounts. Okay, um, that's just gonna make your life easier. That's gonna make your life easier. And I'm not even saying about us making our life easier as CPAs. When I look at your face, and I don't have to give you bad news of a large tax bill, because to me that's not necessarily bad news, because it's just the results of what wasn't planned for. Okay, but in our practice, every quarter we make sure we run this quarterly tax estimate for our clients and taxpayers. And you need to make sure that your quarterly tax payment, right, reflects any changes in your marital status, in the number of dependents. Okay, uh, we don't like to wait until it's the end of the year before we can start making those payments. We like the idea of our clients to set money aside throughout the year, excuse me, so that we're not gonna be scrambling to figure out where do we get money from. Okay. Okay, so that's mistake number 5. And mistake number 6 is it's self-explanatory, right? Taxpayers who don't give themselves the job of reviewing the tax returns. That's really bad. That's really bad. That's lazy, and that doesn't help you. Doesn't help your family, especially if you have people who depend on you financially. You really need to review those tax returns before you sign them, because any claim that is being made on that tax return is not perjury. It represents you, okay, and not your CPA or your tax professional. You are ultimately responsible. As I said earlier, you are responsible for your tax return. So make sure that before you sign those dotted lines, okay, that you review the tax return. You review it, and if you have any question, if there is something that you do not understand, call your CPA, send them an email, and we set up. I know it's busy. It's a busy time of the year for you, but just give me 10 to 20 minutes. I just want you to help me understand this. Okay, it's really that simple. I believe your CPA is a reasonable person, and they will find time to meet with you. So, my friends, review your tax return. And mistake number 7, okay, we had a client that came in 2023, and they were working with a guy. We're not gonna mention names, a guy or girl, let me say that, who prepared their tax return. And imagine this is a guy who works at a local university, and they were trying to get their taxes filed, and the tax preparer created literally a fake a fake Schedule C, and tried to give them a big refund. And in the midst of this big refund, instead of putting the taxpayer's bank account, no, he put his own bank account, so that the refund comes to him first, and then he would send whatever he thought was appropriate to send to this taxpayer this time. Okay, that's just unacceptable. That's unethical. That's illegal. It's criminal. Okay, that can be prosecuted. So if you are either trying to get a bigger tax refund by cheating the system, don't call us, okay? Don't come to our office, because we're not gonna help you. But if you want to find ways to save money on taxes legally, we're your guy. We're your person, okay? Give us a call, send us an email. We're gonna be here to help you. And trying to work with an unethical professional, disreputable professional, people who want to cheat the system to make a living, that's not us. That's not us. Okay? So, my friends, you need to watch out, because if you are willing to work with somebody who can give you quick, bigger refund by cheating the IRS, maybe you feel like you have to get back to the government because you disagree with the government. I'm not here to talk about politics, but I'm telling you, it's a bad move. It's a bad idea. Okay. And if they can cheat the government, they can cheat you. Okay. They can steal your identity because they have your personal information. They have your social security number. They can do a whole of hell for you. So, my friends, let's stick with the ethical part. Let's stick with the ethical side of the law. It doesn't matter what other people are doing, what other people's refund looks like. We have to look at each person, particular situation. That's it. And that's it. So I hope this was the seven exit mistakes, or excuse me, the seven tax mistakes that can help you, that can make your life easier this tax season. If you need help, before I give you our contact information, please remember tomorrow is the deadline for sending your 1099s, among other things. Make sure to reach out to the folks that worked for you as independent contractor to get these W-9s. If you need help sending those 1099s as well, send us an email, send us a text message. We're here to help you. And if you want to get in touch with us, our phone number is there, 773-937-1266. And again, you can also reach out to me directly at my email, lcpaulo@yetoadvisory.com. Or if you want to go straight, book a call on my calendar, right? It's tidycall.com/yetoadvisory/tax season. Again, all the information is right there in front of you. And we're here, we're available to help you in any ways that we can. To me, it was fun, it was amazing to spend these almost 40 minutes with you to share with you about the seven costly tax mistakes self-employed often make that cost them dearly. So I hope this was as informative, as helpful to you as it was as fun for me to create this presentation. So again, don't hesitate to reach out if you need help. We're here to assist you. Have an amazing rest of your day, and God bless you.